Chapter 8. Peter sat nervously as the healer fairies were getting ready for another monthly checkup. Today would be the day he'd find out if he was having a boy or girl. He was excited but nervous as well. He really wanted a sweet little girl, but would be just fine with a boy. Okay, Peter, pull up your shirt, please. Peter pulled his shirt up to his chin, exposing his belly. They put a cold goo on his skin, which always made him and his baby shiver. Then a magical glow lit up his stomach, and it allowed everyone to see the baby inside him. Peter gazed down at it. It was developing normally, but it was unbelievably tiny. Okay, everything's looking good, a nice and healthy little girl, the healer fairy said as Peter was cleaned up. A girl! Peter was having a little girl! Yes, I knew it! You're gonna be amazing, baby girl. Suddenly a tiny kick responded to the comment. Peter stared down at his belly in shock and confusion. Can you hear me? Peter asked his unborn daughter. If you can hear me, either kick me or punch me. A small round of kicks answered him. Peter couldn't believe it. His baby, his future daughter, is able to hear not only his heart, stomach, lungs, and other internal organs, but now his voice. It can hear him, his voice. His low-pitched voice that'll sing sweet lullabies, comforting words, and other things that will let his baby know it's safe with him. It's the only family member that's close to his heart, both physically and mentally. It seemed like when he spoke, like if it's the baby or someone else, he could almost sense that the baby's just lying there, listening to him. You wonder if it's curious about the new sounds it's able to hear, or just likes to hear him speak. But whatever, it didn't matter to him. The baby is able to hear his voice, and that's probably the most important sound he'll ever hear. Peter smiled and hugged his belly. I promise, baby girl, I'll always protect you. No harm will come to you as long as I've got you. He could feel her teeny tiny figure snuggle up to his hands, and he played another song on his pipes for her, just enjoying the quiet moment between them. That's adorable! Sure is. Yeah. Let's see what happens next. 3 months later. Peter hummed a soft tune to himself. He was 8 months pregnant. Only 4 more months until his sweet and precious baby girl would pop out into the world. He was almost nearing the end of his 12-month pregnancy. Hold up! 12 month? I thought it was only supposed to be 9. Well, not this time. This time it's a year. Okay. Yeah. But he isn't so certain that his baby's ready for the world. Physically, the baby is nice and healthy, normal sized and close to being born. But mentally, she's not. Peter already knows what kind of baby she'll be. She'll be born afraid, scared of almost everything. Even a stomach growl or a burp spooks her. He knows when she's scared. He knows what kind of world she'll be born in. Ha! But he knows a small cure that will calm his baby whenever she gets scared. He discovered that something so simple as his voice will calm his baby and settle her, but that will also cause her to be extremely clingy to him. Speaking of his baby girl, he still needed to pick a name for her. He tried some names, but none seemed to stick or seem good to the baby. He walked past a rose bush and let his fingers brush over the pink roses. I love the smell of roses. Reminds me of a briar. Suddenly he felt a kick. Huh? What is it, baby girl? Oh, do you like briar? Do you want that to be your name? Another kick confirmed it. Okay, briar it is, Peter chuckled affectionately, rubbing his belly. Though his baby girl rarely kicked, at least they were strong ones when she did. But if he was standing near roses, why couldn't he just name the baby Rose? Because she liked briar. Okay, you got me. Suddenly he felt something off and gazed down at his belly. Peter had felt nearly every movement his baby could make. He's felt her kick, punch, even a few rolls. But this tiny little movement was new to the young mother. Inside his belly, Peter's unborn daughter was having a tiny case of the hiccups. Each hiccup seemed to make his belly move slightly. That's funny! Yeah. You really think that's funny? Well, think about it. His belly is moving every 2 seconds because his baby has the hiccups. Oh, well, I suppose it is a little funny. Aw, baby girl, looks like you got the hiccups, he chuckled, patting his belly fondly. He hugged his baby and sighed. I can't wait for you, baby girl. I can't wait to hug you close and never let you go. Suddenly he began to feel odd pains inside him. They weren't kicks, not the usual movements he'd gotten used to over the months. They felt like tiny cramps that squeezed around his lower back. Peter hoped that it wasn't the pain he thought it was. It was too early for his daughter to come out now. He told Tinkerbell, and the healer fairy said that they were most likely false contractions and assured him that nothing was going wrong. That can happen? Contractions can be false? Sure. Maybe. Ha. Peter felt deep relief. You scared me, baby girl. You really got me good. He couldn't help but feel so protective. After all, his baby was inside him. He wasn't going to let anyone hurt her. No one. 10th and last chapter. 12 months ago, a tiny life started to form. As it grew, its personality was starting to become very apparent. Peter noticed that his unborn child was showing signs of fear and shyness. She hardly kicked, Storm spooked her, even an occasional burp from him startled her. If it was up to Peter, he would let his unborn child stay inside him where she felt the safest. But his body has other ideas. Peter was full term and has been showing signs that little Briar's arrival was near, much to both Peter's and Briar's dissatisfaction. Peter watched the Lost Boys pack their hunting gear. They were going with the Indian warriors to hunt for the day. Tinkerbell would have stayed to watch Peter, but she had stuff to do in Pixie Hollow. Peter blew on his pipes until he gasped at the sudden feeling of something popping. Then he felt his water break. It was time, whether he or Briar liked it or not. He groaned, placing a hand on the wall to steady himself while the other went to his belly. I can't believe this. They spent 12 months babying me, but I go into labor right after they leave me alone. The good news is Briar's right on time. The bad news, Peter was completely alone to give birth on his own, and his contractions were becoming so strong that he falls to one knee in pain. This really hurts. He wanted to give up, but he had to get up. He couldn't let his baby fall from his haven of 12 to its death. He hauled himself onto his bed. He considered his hammock, but went against it as the swinging fabric would do more harm than good. He placed a shaky hand on his belly. Come on, baby girl. I can feel you right there. You're ready. Peter screamed in pure agony as he pushed. The hours trudged by with the contractions surging through his entire body. Then, just as he thought something would break, a stringent wail rang out. He let out a quiet gasp, carefully reached down and scooped up the tiny newborn into his warm embrace. Tears suddenly spiked up, hot and fast, blurring his vision. She was so tiny, red, and disgruntled looking. Undoubtedly the most beautiful thing he had ever laid eyes on. Little red hairs covered her itty-bitty head, and little silk-like wings were folded against her back. Wings? Well, yeah, because I guess, she came from a fairy egg-like sphere. Makes sense. He quickly got her cleaned up and wrapped in a blanket. Hello, baby girl. I've been waiting so long to finally meet you. At first her shyness took over her, but as Peter gently took her in his hands to soothe her, Briar recognizes his voice, the gentle voice that comforted and loved her while she grew inside him. Immediately she becomes extremely attached to him. Of course, Peter didn't seem to mind. If anything, Peter was completely exhausted. He laid down next to little Briar. The tiny baby instinctively clung to his warm body, cuddling against his collarbone. Both had a really big day. Peter was giving birth and Briar being born. Peter probably got an hour of sleep until he heard a soft, tiny whimper. He slowly opened one eye, slightly seeing little Briar nudging against him, making more tiny whimpers. "What is it, Briar? Daddy's trying to get some rest." The tiny whimper grew into a small cry. Following his instincts, Peter knew exactly what the young baby wanted. She was hungry. Peter adjusted himself so that Briar was tucked under his shirt, and he instantly felt her instinctively start nursing. "Peter, we're back!" The lost boys entered Peter's room, noticing the mess. Then they heard the gurgling of a baby. "Hey guys, come say hi to Briar." The boys couldn't believe how incredibly cute she was, but soon Tink shooed them out so that the two could rest and recover. Peter gazed at the tiny baby in his hands in awe. After a year-long pregnancy, he finally got to see the result of his hard work, his newborn daughter, his little Briar. "I can't believe something so precious came out of me," he thought as he watched his newborn sleep peacefully in his arms. He leaned down and kissed her gently. "I love you, baby girl." And that's it. That's the book. Wow! Undoubtedly one of the best ones. Yeah. Really glad we adapted this one to film. Me too, Charles Wallace. You know what? Me too. So thank you guys for watching. Yeah. We hope you enjoyed. And if you want to see me and Charles Wallace in more reaction videos, write yes or no in the comments. Yeah. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see y'all later. Bye!